Hello, this is Mark from Mark Chess Teaching, and I'm going to go over a quick game between two players rated under 1,000 USCF. And this time I'll be taking a look at the black side, how it goes. All right, white plays e4, black plays black plays e5. Again, a standard position in these games, occupying the center. White plays d3. This is very passive. You want to think about maybe getting a knight out to f3 where you attack the e5 pawn, or maybe a bishop to c4 where you're controlling d5 and you're putting some pressure on f7. There's the two options, but d3 is very passive. And one of the problems it has in this game is it blocks in your like squared bishop. You just limited your squares there. Black is aggressive, immediately attacks with d5. I would recommend here taking the pawn. Black takes back and developing a piece, getting a tempo to attack the queen. Uh, White plays knight c3, attacking this pawn. I'd recommend keeping the tension with knight f6. And if bishop g5, bishop b4, just keeping tension. I'm always a fan of keeping the tension in positions. Black plays d4, which can become a liability. Knight ce2. Bishop g4. Quasi pinning the knight. White is a little bit cramped, but you can get away with playing f3 as white, because if you do the standard queen h4, g3 stops all of that. But black pins, white develops. Now this is called really boxing yourself in as white. You're bunched in. But you have to be careful as black here, because black players, when white's playing so passively, you might get too aggressive. Black plays a simple move to develop a piece. White attacks the bishop. Black moves it back to here. White moves a pawn. White moves the bishop here. Now white's getting pretty aggressive here. h4, and black, I think, plays a pretty good move, putting pressure. h5 allows g5. Now notice, this bishop is really out of the game. This knight is going to find a hard square to go to. This bishop is blocked in by these two pawns. So white has gotten a really interesting position by bunching itself in. You allowed white to expand its king side and put your bishop into a pretty difficult spot. Let's see what happens. Black develops developing move, bishop c5, developing a bishop right into that pawn. I don't know what else there is to do here. Maybe e7, f6 possibilities. Who knows? It gets tricky. Knight g3, knight b4. Again, this is just kind of a wasted move by black. You're not really threatening anything, and white can go a3, and you're forced to go back. Now you've given white a tempo. And one of the things you want to do when you're trying to hit that 1,000 rating is you don't want to give your opponent extra tempos or extra moves that help solidify their position. White plays queen e2, looking to develop the queen, looking to possibly castle queenside. Black plays queen to d7, looking like it's going to do the same thing, and they both castle queenside. However, Black plays b4, and you have to be very, very careful moving the pawns in front of your queen. When you move the pawns in front of your king, you give your opponent options to attack. You want to think about this. All your pieces, this knight that was originally here is over here. This knight's undeveloped. This bishop's here. This queen is all on this side of the board. You just have this bishop mainly doing the protection. So be careful when you release this pawn so soon. I would recommend going to bishop b6 and maybe thinking about playing queen e6 next move. It's kind of what Black does anyway. But Black goes to bishop f8, bishop e1. Now there's a lot of trouble. Queen e6. Okay. But here's the thing. You have to be careful. What is the problem here? Notice, back here, one thing that you have to be careful for is your diagonals. Notice the queen and the king are on the same diagonal. That sets up a beautiful bishop h3, which pins the queen and king. You always have to be mindful whenever your king and queen are on the same diagonal, especially if you let white get in, because you can't block it because of En Passant, and then you're really in trouble. You're really in a lot of trouble. But let's see what happened in the game. So white gives black castles right into that trouble. White goes b4, attacking the bishop, goes back. Now, a recommendation here would be king b8. Just get that pin out of there and get your king to a safer square. However, black is very aggressive, and then white plays a beautiful move here. Now, black does block. He is forced to, and white takes the pawn here. Now, maybe white did not know about En Passant, but this is a good move for you to remember. If black moves a pawn 2 squares from, let's say, the 7 to the 5, and white has a pawn on the 5, you can En Passant right here, and black is in a world of trouble. This is almost resignable. But white takes the pawn here, which still attacks both pieces. White can't take it, black can't take it back, so black goes queen a2, which is very aggressive. White gets a discovered check. King goes to b8, much safer square. Then white takes this pawn, but white has to be very careful over here. Remember what I talked about. This bishop, this queen, this rook, this bishop, this knight, this queen are all on this half of the board. To be very careful. Now you get a check in. King d2. Now you get another check in. And if you block, there's so many different ways to mate here. So you have to be very, very careful. Black gave white a gift by letting white pin its queen. If black played e takes f6, en passant, it would have been game over. However, white gave black just one sneaky move to attack white over in the corner here, and it was game over. Remember, when you're playing, a couple rules of thumb. One, if you're going to castle, be careful about moving the pawns in front of your king. It makes it easier for your opponent to attack. Two, be careful about diagonals. You could set your king and queen up or a rook and king up for defeat from these nagging bishops. All right, I hope you enjoyed this quick video, and good luck on your road to 1,000.